Hold on. Let me stretch. Oh. Good morning. How are you, early birds? I am up and boy, I am feeling rusty or something. But I shouldn't be tired. I got up and I took my shower and I had a good night's sleep. How about you? Did you have a good night's sleep? But I didn't have my breakfast, and you know what I feel like? I feel like I could use some orange juice right now. So, what am I starting with? I'm starting with our chalkboard, which, as you see in our classroom engagement, we decorated our orange chalkboard. And now we are, look at what I did with that. Drove it right into the blue. Sometimes my finger works better. Okay, early birds, we actually have a full day. You wouldn't know it by the la-di-da I'm showing you over here as I do our chalkboard. But I told you, I need some orange juice. I need a little pick-me-up over here, folks. You need to give me a little break over here. I had to make sure this looked better. Okay, early birds, what are we doing today? Well, I hope you joined me yesterday. Our short Monday show turned out to be an hour and 40 minutes. Oh, I know. What did we talk about? We talked about nutrition. It was really good. I talked about label reading. So that part of it is for older, a little bit older, but for younger too. If you get it, it's for younger as well, but it's also for adults. So many people do not understand how to read labels. And, you know, I know because I'm a teacher that there's a lot of other things I look at and I end up seeing that people don't see, like about nutrition, right? And so I understand that now, although I didn't always understand, we're doing sentence. And actually, I'm going to call it sentence. I hope he doesn't fall off. Structure. Oop. I know I don't have any flowers back there. I got to get some flowers, but Ozpol, making no money. The heck? Sitting over there sponsoring this, getting followed by that. Who even knows? But let's get our job going. We got to stay on track for our job. So they're like, oh, she's a little scattered. Oh, does she ever get there on time? I don't even know if she even gets there for her freebie show on time. Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. Let's really get started this time. Watch. I actually do have my slides. Of course I do. You know, I met somebody yesterday or the day before. It wasn't yesterday. It was the day before yesterday. And her name was Whisper. Do you think she's telling me something? Do you think that she's trying to tell me something? That maybe the early birds, maybe I'm a little too loud for the early birds, for the early bird parents, although she didn't have any kids. So, Whisper, guess what? We're Italian. She said it. She doesn't whisper. She's pretty sure mom said, whisper. That's why. No, I don't think that's really the truth, because you have to have an extended period of time to develop a personality trait of being loud, right? And you have to name your baby within 3 days. Before you get out of the hospital, you have to name your baby. I know that because we didn't know what to name our younger son. And so we didn't name him until the day we left. You were like, you have to name your son. His birth certificate is blank. Okay, I would like to actually really truly get a glass of orange juice. So that's what we're doing today. We are doing sentences and phrases. So we're looking at the structure, and lucky you, whisper, lucky you. You know what? It doesn't even register on there. And when it doesn't register on there, it means it's not getting picked up in the closed caption. So whispering just doesn't work. The louder I am, the better it is for making sure that they pick up my precise words on that closed caption. Sentence and phrases. Lucky you that, I know I still have this in the picture because it's so cute. That's where we left off with the yellow one, 84. But as you can see, my ADD is kicking in. ADHD is kicking in, and that's distracting me. Makes me forget where I'm at. Lucky you. We have already been through some of this, the sentences and phrases. We have. The biggest part, which we have really done, I could almost say ad nauseum until I get nauseated, till I get sick about it, right? Till I'm sick of it. Ad nauseum. Then we don't have to go, I'm sick of it. You could say ad nauseum. Thank you, early birds. See what you get. See what you get this early in the morning. Oh my gosh. My hair did, well, it does kind of look good. Let me paste down that bald spot. It's not a bald spot, you menopausal nuts. Okay. Which we have done when we've done our complete subject and our complete predicate. So we have done that almost ad nauseum. Maybe you're nauseated already enough by it, right? I'm not. I love it. We're going to do more of it when we diagram sentences. But right now there's a few leftovers that we want to get to so that we have got just a well-rounded knowledge when we get into jumping in to our final phase of grammar. And then I'm not sure where we're going. Well, we're going into math. We're going to go back into math, all right, for a little while. We might even do some penmanship because I keep looking at this. And I'm sorry, but penmanship really says something about who you are. It says, I care about what I'm doing. It always does. I picked up when I get my orange juice, I'll get it. From 1979, Sister Maria gave me a bookmark. And all I could say is, bravo, Sister Maria, on the penmanship. That's what I have to say. I have to say bravo, Dr. Feravich, for keeping that bookmark since 1979 and having it and having the wherewithal now since then to pick it up and use it 44 years later. I sometimes like me. All right. Penmanship. It says a lot. I'll tell you what it says about Sister Maria because you'll see what it says. It says that she took an hour and a half to fill out those bookmarks. That's what it says to me. For 13 kids. I'm just saying. That's how many were in my graduating class from St. Michael's in Brunswick, Michigan, 8th grade. Okay. But I didn't graduate. That was my confirmation. She gave that to me for my confirmation. Okay, anyway, because it was February. That's how I know. Anyway, so we've done complete subject. We've done complete predicate. There's a lot of things that we know. And today we're doing a little bit of a wrap up, okay? I'm going to give you, you know what I'm going to give you? I'm going to give you a little ABC song because we have not done our ABC song in a very long time, have we? So let's do it.
ABC,
sing along because I can't hear it. I don't know why I can't hear it. There's probably no input output on or something like that. I'm not sure. But were you happy to hear that? I bet you were. You haven't heard that in a very long time. Let's go ahead and get started with all these wrap-ups that we have to do so that now that we are learning real sentences and phrases and differences between those things, then we really are ready to go on to diagramming sentences. Okay? All right, so let's move on. Now, what I have here is I showed you last time we were here on Thursday, day 86. I showed you the days, and then I showed you the definitions for each one of these. Now I put them all on one slide so that you can see on this one slide the days and go back to those days and around those days to pick up those, because you could see that for, I don't have my glasses on, I can't see the day. Hold on. But you can see, but I can't see. What is it? Day, I should remember. 57. Did I remember? No, 51. 54. So you can see on day 54, we covered the noun, the pronoun, and the verb. That's an awful lot for day 54. Likely, we were covering verbs all the way up until the next day, which is day 79, where we cover prepositions. Day 80, and we did some math in there, but honestly, we were talking a long time about verbs, and we spent some time on nouns and pronouns. We introduced the definitions on day 54, but there was a lot of work to be done so that we understood what we were talking about, right? What they were, what those parts of speech, those parts of speech actually were. Day 81, adjectives. Oh, day 80, sorry. All of a sudden I forgot, and now I can't see it. Conjunctions. Day 81, interjections and adjectives, and then day 83, adverbs. And again, we really were spending a lot of time trying to really get to understand each one of those. Adverbs, we didn't spend as much time on, but really that's something, especially when it's kind of more difficult. But we do have all kinds of worksheets. If you want some worksheets, I don't know. Yeah, you're gonna have to say something down below. I've got, I got all kinds of issues. Remember Whisper when I said that to the guy down there at the bar? Yeah, I said it. I had pizza again. I did. Delicious, unbelievable pizza at Cottage Inn. Oh, best pizza. The other day. So I got to know some friends. Jerry and Dean. I know. Can you believe it? Jerry and Dean. That's so strange to me. It is. It just is. It just is. Okay, let's get going. So, that being said, where are we? So now we want to talk about sentences. We are jumping right in just about, except for we're 20 minutes in. 28 minutes in, whatever. No, 18 minutes in. What am I saying? 18 minutes. Oh my gosh. Annette, we got to get to math. It's Dr. Feravich to you. Stop it with your Annette. Just because I make a mistake doesn't mean you can call me by my first name. Sentences, a word or a group of words that expresses a complete thought. All right? And so we know sentences have to have a subject and a verb. So a word or group of words that expresses a complete thought. And in order to have a complete thought, you need a subject and a verb. Now, for a minute, I want to just say to you, you're like, why didn't you say that on there? And I'm like, I know. Why didn't I say that on there? This is, remember, I'm getting this all from the book, the Southwestern, what was it? Encyclopedia. I'll show it to you, right? And when we're talking about sentences and they're talking about complete subjects and complete predicates, they give a different definition of a sentence than they are here, as we're trying to get into writing is what we're doing. All right. So we know, and we've already learned, that a sentence has a complete subject. That a sentence has a subject and a verb. And sometimes that subject can be understood. So a complete sentence can be run, stop, right? An interjection, exclamation point, that's a complete sentence. What's the subject of that sentence? Stop. Whisper. Whisper. What's the subject of that sentence? Could be the class, right? Whisper. Could be Johnny over there who's always talking in this loud voice because he's Italian. Whisper. Who is it? Johnny, you, the classroom. Whisper. You whisper. I talk loud. Didn't I tell you I came from an Italian family? Huh? And my dad, who wasn't Italian, who's Mexican, holy smokes, ask him what his last name is. Garcia. And if you look it up, it literally is like the roar of a lion, the last name. Whoa, Dad, you're going to be 90. This, I think it's Saturday. 4 days from now, he's going to be 90. I think he was a great Indian chief. I do. No, I think his dad was. A phrase is a group of words, of related words, that does not contain a subject or a predicate. All right? A group of words. That's a phrase. A group of words. That's a phrase. What's a phrase? A group of words. I know, but give me an example. A group of words. That's a phrase. I know, but. No, a group of words. See, a group of words has no subject. It has no predicate. It's just a group of words. But they are related, aren't they? A group of words. It's just not like, bing, bang, boom. I'm thinking of my video on President Trump. Bing, 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 bing. I have a video out there where he does that. I'm kind of funny sometimes. I can be funny. I can be funny. I can be serious. I can whisper. I don't think so. I just did a minute ago. So a phrase, a group of related words, just like what I gave you an example of, right? A group of words. They are related, but it was no subject or no predicate in just that first part of the phrase, a group of words, a group of words. All right? Clauses. Clauses are a group, or a clause is a group of related words that has a subject and a predicate that is used as part of a sentence. Often it's connected by a conjunction. A conjunction, what are conjunctions, Dr. Feravich? Well, I'm so glad you asked. I happen to have the sheet getting squashed over here by my books. So I'm glad you asked so I can unsquash this nice sheet I have over here that I put a crease in. There's our conjunctions right there. Can you quiet down? Whisper when you're like getting upset over there. And, or, but, yet, nor, so, for, because, while, after, once, when, until, who, so that, and also. If we don't have these on our, we haven't done our sight words in a long time because we're a little bit past our sight words. Now, I could show you the sight words, but that'd probably take me an hour and a half just to get them up there. And we're not there right now. Let's focus on one thing, can we? Right? See that right now we're doing an ADHD thing again, right? So we're going over to some other topic. See, going over to some other topic, maybe we do want to go into a different topic and do a little bit of a a deeper dive in another topic. Maybe we do, but right now we don't. Right now I just want to make sure that we remember conjunctions. But I did want to say that words like once or who, these are good words that would go in our sight words, right? So I'm not going to go look them up and go down the rabbit hole looking them up. You can do that, right? And look for my title on my chalkboard that says sight words. I think I have that. Maybe not. I'm not so sure. Nevertheless, words like cause, because, once, who, maybe those should be sight words as well, right? To help you read. But there are our conjunctions. So what do conjunctions do? Conjunctions join clauses. Clauses have a subject and a predicate, a verb. And they are often joined together by conjunctions. So clauses, a group of related words that these have a subject and a predicate. So that's the difference. Phrases do not, clauses do. But clauses are only part of a sentence. They have a subject and they have a predicate, but they are only part of a sentence. They're connected using a conjunction. Often they're connected using a conjunction. I'm going to show you an example. We can connect them using punctuation as well. Okay? Okay, so what we have here is we have independent and dependent clauses. Independent and dependent clauses. And the difference between independent and dependent clauses is that the independent clause, it has a subject and it has a verb, but the dependent clause. The dependent clause has a subject and a verb, but it does not stand alone. Now see how I've got independent in green, so that is the part of the sentence that can stand all by itself. It's a sentence all by itself in the green. In the blue, it is the part of the sentence that is a clause because it has a subject and a verb, but it cannot stand alone. So these are clauses that have subjects and verbs. One of them in the sentence is independent, an independent clause. Those are in green. Others are a dependent clause. They cannot stand by themselves. Those are in blue. Let's look at the first sentence. If the sun comes out tomorrow, I'll teach class outside. I'll teach class outside is a sentence all by itself. That's why it's independent. However, if the sun comes out tomorrow, I need something else. Tell me what's going to happen if the sun comes out tomorrow, right? Now I have it there. I'll teach class outside. But when somebody says, if the sun comes out tomorrow, you're like, yeah? Because it's not a complete sentence. It's dependent on the next thought. So it's not independent. When you're independent, you don't need anything else. When you're dependent, you do. A dependent clause needs something else. When it's 8 o'clock, what? I'll still be working on getting ready for class because we don't start till 8:30. After the ball game, actually, those aren't clauses, are they? Those are prepositional phrases after the ball game. I better give you a different, because it has to have a subject and a verb. Let's get back to the examples over here, shall we? But what I'm saying is something that is dependent needs something more. If the sun comes out tomorrow, when I get over this cold, right, after I graduate from high school, there was the second sentence, I'm planning to join the Peace Corps after I graduate from high school. So there again, after I graduate from high school, you need something else. Tell me something more. What about after you graduate from high school? So we can have the independent clause before the dependent one or after the dependent one. We can also have two independent clauses, but we can't have two dependent clauses, right? We need something to depend on. We can't have two dependents. We have to depend on something. One of us has to be strong and independent. Or two, or more. Tom is running for senator, and his wife is not happy about it. His wife is not happy about it. That's a sentence, right? That's a sentence all by itself. Tom is running for senator. That's a sentence all by itself as well. So we have two independent clauses that's joined by the conjunction and. Okay? Let's take a look at types of sentences, and this can help us understand clauses, and it can help us understand phrases as well. A simple sentence with one independent clause and no dependent clauses. That's what a simple sentence is. A sentence with one independent clause and no dependent clauses. So these sentences here were not simple sentences. Let's find out what they were. So, for example, a simple sentence, the team was rescuing seals in the Pacific Ocean. So there's no dependent clause there. It can have prepositional phrases, so it can be longer, but there's no dependent clause. The team was rescuing seals in the Pacific Ocean. A compound sentence, a sentence with two or more independent clauses. I should have two or more independent clauses connected by a conjunction or punctuation. So those were compound sentences that we saw here. A sentence with two or more independent clauses connected by a conjunction or a punctuation. No, I'm sorry. That's not a compound. Number 3 is a compound. Tom is running for senator, and his wife is not happy about it. That's a compound sentence. Here's another one. Sharon wore her favorite dress to the party. Everyone loved it. That's a sentence that's not connected by a conjunction, but is connected by a semicolon. A semicolon. I'll show you what that looks like, because it's hard to see there. And okay. So there's a semicolon right there. I'm going to change the color for you. Make it a little bit bigger. Whoop. So it's a period on top and a comma on the bottom. That's a semicolon. We use a semicolon in order to separate two sentences. So we don't have to necessarily use a conjunction to separate our sentences. We can use a semicolon, all right? So that's what we have there in that sentence. Sharon wore her favorite dress to the party, semicolon, everyone loved it. You could say Sharon wore her favorite dress to the party and everyone loved it, right? And that's probably the only one you could say you would say until everyone loved it, right? So that would be, you could connect it with a conjunction and. Sharon wore her favorite dress to the party and everyone loved it. You can drop that and use a semicolon. Sharon wore her favorite dress to the party, semicolon, everyone loved it. That's a compound sentence, right? Okay. A complex sentence. Let's see if those other sentences are complex. They must be, right? A sentence was with one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses. The house was finally finished when the winter months were upon us. So the winter months were upon us. So we have to have a subject and a verb. But the clause when the winter months were upon us is dependent on the first part of the sentence. The house was finally finished, which is a complete sentence. The house was finally finished when the winter months were upon us is a dependent clause. So that is a complex sentence. So those first two sentences were complex sentences, while the third one was a compound sentence, right? So if the sun comes out tomorrow, I'll teach class outside. That is a complex sentence. I'm planning to join the Peace Corps after I graduate from high school. That is a complex sentence. Tom is running for senator and his wife is not happy about it. That is a compound sentence. Okay? Look at what we are learning today. So those are types of sentences: simple, compound, and complex. Now, let's take a look at verb types. I think that I'm not supposed to have, why do I have more about verb types? These are just supposed to be verb types. Not more about verb types. Verb types. Okay. And you know I'm going to change it. You know I'm going to, because you know how I am about those kind of things. Oh my gosh. I know. If I see a mistake, I have to correct it. All right. So what are our verb types? We are going to talk about verb types in different ways. I don't know who's we right now. It's only me. The staff didn't show up again. So there we go. That should do it. No, it didn't do it. How did that happen? Oh, because I did it to the wrong one. And this is what always happens. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but there's all kinds of action going on behind the scenes. You can't even believe it. Here we go. File export as a JPEG. Export, replace, and there it is. Okay, verb types. So we're starting with verb types: transitive, intransitive, linking, and auxiliary verbs. We already learned, so we already have a head start. So lucky you again that you already have a head start on this with auxiliary verbs. Do you remember what an auxiliary verb is? What is an auxiliary verb? Do you remember? That was one of the easiest things for me to remember. I don't know why. My guess is because it was such a big word and I liked remembering big words, right? So I remembered auxiliary verb. Do you remember what auxiliary verb means? That is well, it's right up there, Dr. Feravich. If I didn't remember, all I need to do, well, not everyone can read. And can you stop interrupting me? Second voice in my head coming out of my mouth. It's no wonder I can't whisper. Helping verbs indicate, so these are helping verbs. Auxiliary verbs, remember, are helping verbs. And these helping verbs help indicate our tense, remember? So I will go to town tomorrow. He had borrowed my pen a few days ago. That could be a past tense helping verb. It can be a future tense helping verb. It helps us tell about our verb tense. So we do talk about auxiliary verbs. And we talk about it right around day, what was that, 54? But probably long after day 54, right? So there's our verbs, but probably, I think we really go do a real deep dive on verbs on day 57 is what I think it is, and day 58. So check that out. Where am I going? Let's look at transitive verbs up there. So auxiliary verbs, we've learned them and they help us indicate our verb tense and they are helping verbs, right? So that was the last one there. I will go to town tomorrow. Will is the helper. And for each one of these sentences, you'll see that the verb is in green. All right. So for each one of the sentences, the verb is in green. So a transitive verb. Now, we haven't heard that before. We've heard auxiliary verbs, but we haven't heard transitive verbs. A transitive verb is an action that affects an object. So what it does is it almost like transfers the action to something. If I have an action verb, what is it doing? It's got to have an effect on something if it's an action, right? So, but not always, not always. We're looking at some other ones, right? So, transitive verb, an action that affects an object. Judy put back the candy bar. So, what did she do? What did she put? Well, there's an action on something, the candy bar. The action put is on the candy bar. But candy actually is what? What is candy? Candy's an adjective, isn't it? It describes the kind of bar. It's not a Bell bar, right? It's not a, hometown bar. It's a candy bar. Very different, right? We can have very different bars, apparently. All right, so what did she put? When I'm putting something, I'm acting on something. What did I act on? Well, I don't know what I acted on, but I know Judy acted on the candy bar, right? On the bar. An intransitive verb, a verb that does not affect an object. The boys left. No object, right? I could say the boys left the campground. There'd be an object. See, that actually could be a linking verb because it's not necessarily acting on the object, but linking verbs can be very funny, right? Because if you remember, smell can be a linking verb. Become can be a linking verb. It links to something that's not an object. Do you understand? So, linking verbs can kind of be funny because I can see the action of a linking verb. And so therefore I say that's an action verb. But sometimes we are not acting upon something. The snow fell to the ground. Well, I can see falling. To the ground is not an object. To the ground is a prepositional phrase, right? So there's no object for the action. So that sentence, in my mind, is an intransitive sentence. There's no object that's being acted upon. There's a preposition and an object in the preposition, right? To the ground. Ground is the object, the noun, right? Look back at prepositions. What day did we do that on? 80, I think. I think that was day 80. So, links a subject and its predicate. The girls are acting silly. The girls are acting silly. So, we don't have a noun. There is not an object. So, when there's an object, we have a transitive sentence. When we don't have an object, but we have an action, it's intransitive. When we have a linking verb, it's, well, a linking verb, right? Which we've already learned about those as well. So here's more about verb types. This is the transitive. So let's look at that then. We call that object an action that affects an object in a transitive verb sentence is called the direct object. The direct object is the word or words that receives the action of a verb. So there I have the V over the verb gave. Jimmy gave his girlfriend a ring on Valentine's Day. The direct object is ring. What did Jimmy give? He gave a ring. That's the object. So the object of the action, the object of the verb, the object of the action is called the direct object. The indirect object is the word or words that receive the direct object. Who received the ring? The girlfriend. Jimmy gave, what did he give? A ring. To whom? His girlfriend. The indirect object always comes before the direct object. If it doesn't, if the sentence said, Jimmy gave a ring to his girlfriend on Valentine's Day, that would be, to his girlfriend would be a prepositional phrase. And so that there would be no indirect object. The indirect object always comes before the direct object. Jimmy gave his girlfriend a ring on Valentine's Day. What did he give? That's the object. He gave a ring. Who did he give the ring to? His girlfriend. That's the receiver of the object. Who received the object? His girlfriend. That's the indirect object. That's all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much for joining me in this early bird classroom. We have learned a lot. We've got to come back with some examples on these direct objects and indirect objects we'll have. And we're going to learn a couple more things, and then we're almost wrapped up with grammar. I know. I've been saying that since pretty much day, what? After we got past the verbs. Since day 80. We're only on 87, but we took a break. So it's been a while. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. We are closing in on diagramming sentences, which means we know everything about what a sentence contains. We are so smart. We are getting so strong. We are Dr. Annette Feravich, thank you for joining me here in the classroom with the teacher who is somewhat of an early bird. Thanks for joining me.